You are supporting the struggle either negatively or positively, and a lot of people don't actually know what freedom fighting is all about, other than supporting what we are doing on social media, and many of you who are supporting are not even sure. So it has become imperative that as we are making this feat, preparing ourselves for the historic day in Finland, we have to also educate our people on exactly our roadmap to independence. My fellow Biafrans, we are declaring the restoration of independence of Biafra. And a lot of people will ask, what does this declaration mean to achieve? The declaration, just like every other declaration of independence of any country, unilaterally ceding state. Since the birth of the Declaration of Independence by the United States in 1776 with the U.S. Declaration of Independence, these have had at least two interrelated objectives, just like every other country. And this objective remain the delegitimization of the existing host state, today Nigeria, that rules over the ceding territory over Biafra, and the legitimization of the new emergent state, Biafra, which is ceding from existing one, Nigeria. I just want to be putting it in elementary understandard or elementary standard level for everybody, both educated and uneducated, to understand where we are going and what we are doing and exactly what you are supporting. And this particular declaration involves a lot of things. Involve listening of grievances against the ceding state, the state that is declaring the independence, injustice that are meted against them, harms suffered by the population of this emergent state of Biafra. Like I said, I am here to give you the update. Biafra Republic Government in exile and the Biafra Republic Government in homeland, the de facto government, has set up a declaration committee, a declaration drafting committee that has now taken it upon themselves to start working on listening our grievances against Nigeria. It is going to be political grievances and of course other grievances, about 3 different types of grievances that we have against Nigeria. This is the world standard of the independent declaration. So the Biafra government have constituted a committee called the Declaration Drafting Committee, which are currently working on listening our grievances against Nigeria, the injustices that Nigeria has meted against us, the harms we have suffered under Nigeria, and of course, many of these grievances will be well detailed. And it is going to come like a book, because it is going to be history that everybody will read why we are doing what we are doing today. So my fellow Biafrans, this has been the standard way of delegitimizing the existing state, today Nigeria, and legitimizing the new state, which is going to be Biafra. I want to draw your attention or your memory to the 1776 U.S. Declaration. The new state is presented as the only remedy. Only remedy. Today, Biafra will present this new state of Biafra as the only remedy to the listed grievances that the Declaration Drafting Committee are going to list in a book. Because like I said, our grievances are endless. So it is going to come in a book form. However, in the process of dissolution of a country like USSR and of course the former Yugoslavia from 1990 onward, a number of federal and sub-federal units abandoned the objective of delegitimizing the old state. Like I said, our problems are peculiar. Nigeria is a very complex country and we have found the solution how to deal and exit from Nigeria. And believe me, if we are not supporting this government, we will regret it, because we end up dragging you to freedom and then we give you condition. Now, state in their declaration or act of independence why it is difficult to establish the reason which this state did not delegitimize the existing one on their declaration, because some of these states were no longer perceived as a functioning state which was capable of asserting its legitimacy to rule over the ceding territory. This is apparent from the foundational constitutional charter of the Republic of Slovenia, issued at the same time as the Declaration of Independence, which in its preamble note that Slovenia no longer functions as a law-governed state capable of resolving the current problem. My fellow Biafrans, this is exactly the same thing happening between Nigeria and Biafra. Nigeria is no longer capable of resolving its current political and economic crisis. And that is one of the reasons Biafra is exiting, because Nigeria has failed to resolve its insecurity, terrorism, and all manner of political crisis, economic crisis. Nigeria have shown that they are incapacitated and they are not capable of resolving this current problem, and Biafra has a solution. Political and economic crisis. In the case of Slovenia, their Charter of 1991 preamble actually stated exactly what we are going through today, the inability of the government as at then to resolve their political and economic crisis. Moreover, this federation had been ruled by their respective communist parties. These parties and their leaders were held accountable for harms and injustices committed to the population of CD state. And in the Biafra and Nigeria, we will make sure that we hold Nigeria people accountable for the injustices and the harms they have committed against Biafrans from the time of 1967 or even beyond that till this present day. We will hold all of them accountable, from Gowon to Obasanjo to every living Nigerian that has contributed in the genocide against our people. We are going to hold them responsible. It is not happening because there is no representative of Biafrans. There is nobody who summoned courage to represent Biafra people, speak to Nigeria in a language they will never understand until now. I have taken that responsibility. These parties and their leaders were held accountable for harms and injustices committed to the population of the city state, in the state of these Slovenians and all of that. However, by the time of the Declaration of Independence were issued, these parties had been removed from power and were effectively dissolved. In a sense, therefore, the grievances against this communist ruled state belong to the past or the present, the recent past, and were no longer relevant when CD state declared their independence. In our own Nigeria against Biafra, it is going to be different, because those evil government officials that committed this crime against us are still at large today, and the government is still in power. Nigeria government is still very active, killing our people in Biafra land. So we are going to make sure that we hold them very, very responsible for all the killings you see today happening in the southeast and south to south. In Okora community, or the massacre, all of them, we are going to list all these killings and we hold them responsible. One could just argue that the whole state that would have been target of the delegitimization through a list of grievances had already lost their operational legitimacy. And that's exactly the tactics that the Biafra government is applying today. We are expecting that as we are declaring the restoration of independence of Biafra, we will make sure that we reduce Nigeria to ground zero in Biafra territory through our actions from the Biafra Defense Forces. In consequence, the declaration of the independence of several federal units and later of sub-federal units, such as Kosovo, for example, of these two federal states, focus in some cases exclusively on legitimization of the new state, legitimization of their own state, because there is no need for them to delegitimize the existing state since they have already failed. This was achieved by announcing or establishing state institutions. My fellow Biafrans, the issue of Kosovo, for example, in some cases, this Kosovo focused on legitimization of the new state. And this was achieved. Kosovo achieved their own independence during their declaration, announcing or establishing state institutions that were taking over the state functions of the old state. And that's exactly, we have actually done that. The Biafra government has actually established all state institutions, both in the homeland and from exile. We have actually superseded every country that have ever declared independent. We have superseded all of them. We have done what no country have actually done. We have government in the homeland, de facto government. We have created 40 United States of Biafra. We have defined our map, undisputable. We have also created the government in exile. We have already established liaison offices all over the world that will later become the embassies of Biafra. We have done, no country have ever done it in the history of freedom fighting. That is how far we have gone. And this measure is very necessary because Nigeria is a very complex country. And we needed to do something extraordinary, which we have done. And that is the reason you are seeing the attention that we are getting from DC or Washington DC, from the United States, and other part of the world. Because you can't have this particular achievement of the Biafra government today and everybody is ignoring it. No, they have predicted Nigeria breakup for many years. It never happened. And after the prediction, no reasonable, very serious individual is coming up to do something. Now, they have seen that, yes, Simon Ekpa and his government is more than serious, and they can be taken very seriously. People have been watching, decision makers have been watching from the side and observing our activities for the past 1.5 years. And today, I believe they are summoning the courage to do that which is right. And what is it? To stand by the truth, by giving their voices for the independence of Biafra. That is what you see happening today. And we must applaud them. They have done the right thing. And those who are still waiting to see another crazy move from Simon Ekpa before they can give their voice, we will get them at the end of the day. My fellow Biafrans, the modus operandi and the pattern of the Biafra government today is something that Nigeria can never ever comprehend. Kosovo achieved this independence by establishing state institutions that were taking over the functions of the old state, or by announcing the new state commitment to several internationally sanctioned principles. Exactly what the Biafra government have done today. We have been announcing the new institution, establishing our ministries as a commitment to several internationally sanctioned principles, policies, and international organizations. This declaration of independence were apparently expected to legitimize the new state of Biafra in the eye of other world powers or other countries. My fellow Biafrans that are listening to me today, many of these